Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Patience, and on Wednesdays I do deep dives into topics that I find interesting. Now today's going to be a slightly different video. It's not going to be a deep dive, it's going to be more of a reaction video. Basically, I ended up on the weird side of the internet and I feel like I should share that with you. Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. So basically what had happened was I was watching this video. Can't even remember what the video was anymore, but there was a woman in the video and she had pink hair. She was Australian and she was talking about how it's important for us to teach babies to consent to having their nappies changed. And she was basically advocating that babies should consent before we change their nappies. And I thought the video was so interesting and weird, so I wanted to see the original. So I literally just searched woman with pink hair nappy changing consent. But in the process of searching for that video, I ended up coming across a Good Morning Britain video where they were talking about the exact same thing. And it blew my mind because I was like, okay, so this is a much bigger topic than I had previously thought it was. And so I decided rather than watch that video, I was going to react to it live with you. We were going to react to it together. So that's how this video came about. So it's about to get weird, I imagine, but let's get into it. For those of you who are from the other side of the pond and maybe have never heard the word nappy, it means diaper. You see that? I'm bilingual.
Right, Jane, you think that parents should ask their children's consent when they are babies to change their nappy. Is this not sexualizing the interaction between a parent and child? Because it's just a parent's job to change a nappy, isn't it? It's just a normal, natural, innocent thing.
I'm very confused about how this would become a sexual issue. So, for example...
Because you're talking about consent, which is implying that parents are doing something which is non-consensual.
There's nothing sexual about consent. If I was to say, oh, Suzanne, it's really lovely to meet you, I would love to give you a hug, I would wait for you to communicate with me.
Okay, so far I can agree with her. You know, consent doesn't have to be sexual, although in recent times, the context in which we've been talking about consent has been sexual. So I can understand why Suzanne's mind instantly went there. But I do agree with her. It's just about respecting people's boundaries.
Talk me through the conversation you had with your 3-month-old baby about consent. How did it go?
It would have gone. I just need to change your nappy now to make you comfortable.
And your 3-month-old baby said what in response?
Of course, we would know that a 3-month-old baby can't speak. Babies communicate all the time.
How did your baby tell you that it was giving consent? A boy or girl?
A boy.
Or gender fluid? Which one?
A boy.
A boy. So how did your little boy, aged 3 months, communicate to you that it was okay to change his nappy?
It's not the okay, it's the respect.
How does one know if a 3-month-old is giving them the, as she described, respect? Like, what does that even mean?
If a baby is upset, then you will see tension, a body arch,
Jane,
something like that.
plenty of babies don't like it when you change their nappy.
This is very, very true. I remember when I used to change my little brother's nappy, and it was literally like changing the nappy of an octopus. He was just, there was a whole lot of flipping around, legs movement. It was not a fun experience. Most babies, I'm not gonna say most babies, but a lot of babies don't like having their nappies changed, but not because they don't want their nappies to be changed. It's more so that you're interrupting their playtime, okay? Babies are busy people. They're busy mini humans. They have things to do. They have non-edible things to try and eat and potentially choke on. They have loads of random objects to try and throw in the toilet, because for some reason kids have a thing about watching things float. So they just, any access they can have to water, whether it's a bathtub or a toilet, they're throwing stuff in there. But if you've been raised around children, or if you have your own kids, I'm sure you understand what I'm talking about. But yeah, kids are busy, okay? They have things to do. So yeah, I agree with her. She's very correct on that. A lot of kids are not enthusiastic about having their nappies changed. I remember my little brother used to run away, so he used to just hear the word nappy and he was gone.
The thing is, consent, children can't give consent. That's why that's why we have an age of consent, because children under the age of 16 can't consent.
She has a point. She has a point. I 100% agree with her. This is definitely the reason why we have an age of consent. There's a reason why kids can't do most things. A kid can't just go to a bank and take out a mortgage. You know, kids can't drink, kids can't drive. There's a reason why we have age restrictions and why we have ages of consent, because we understand that children's minds are not developed enough to make those kind of decisions or even conceptualize what these kind of decisions mean.
All right. So Jane, just to clarify, because viewers will be watching this going, how do I do this with my 3-month-old baby? What are the signs they should look for of a baby not giving consent for its nappy to be changed?
So you know, it's just looking for that moment of respect.
What is that moment? Show me, what does a baby do?
So for a baby, there'll be a tiny relaxation.
Come here, dirty nappy, boom, change, new nappy. Your way is, so I'm going to be
Just a millisecond
I'm going to be the father here. You're one of my children for a moment, okay? So you're 3 months old, you don't speak a word of anything, you just gurgle, you break wind, you defecate and you eat,
with you
right?
non-verbally all the time, yes.
Okay. I would like to change your nappy.
What does that mean? Jane? What does it mean?
What does it mean? What does it mean? Ah!
Your shoulders slump.
Momentary, yes, that's a relaxation.
So if the baby's shoulders slump,
Well, there's
it is
different
refusing
ways.
consent. So
No, that was giving.
You know what? Jane might have a career as a baby whisperer, because quite clearly she seems to be the only one who understands all of these random body language things that she's talking about. If I ask a 3-month-old a question, I'm expected to interpret their body language, even though they might not even mean it in the way that I interpret it. It's just so weird. Just change your child's nappy.
Shoulder sloping is consent.
Well, it may be in one baby. Every human
You mean
being...
another baby, it might be the opposite?
All
How do we
you're
know?
doing is you're
How do I know as a
tuning-
parent
you're
whether it's giving me consent or not?
Because you tune into your baby from birth onwards,
Right.
if you're not on your phone all the time.
Okay.
Well, that was a beautiful masterpiece of a video. Oh wait, she came back. Oh wait, no, she was on this morning. Should grandparents ask for consent before kissing their grandchildren? Well, I think I'll call it a day there. All jokes aside though, I do understand what she is trying to do. I understand that she's trying to teach children that their body is their own and to have bodily autonomy, especially because we are aware of the fact that there are instances where children do get taken advantage of. However, I think that the approach is wrong. People don't realize that even their best intentions can have very devastating consequences. And I think that's partly why we have a lot of the issues that we're experiencing right now. The problem is we have a lot of people, good people with good intentions, but who are just very poorly misguided and putting things in place and advocating for things that are actually going to do more harm than good. I understand that she means well, but what she doesn't understand is that she's potentially creating more danger for these kids by trying to implement these kind of ideologies that children can consent. It's like a Pandora's box. It's a slippery slope from there, because then it becomes, okay, if they can consent to nappy changing, then what else can children consent to? And there are some really sick individuals who would love to live in a world where people believe that children can consent. I don't want to live in a world where people believe children can consent. It's as dystopian as hell to me. Let's not do that. There have been some complications when it comes to teaching young children about consent, as many are too young to fully understand the concept. Many primary schools are now incorporating consent into their sex education classes, and this has led to some unexpected consequences. Some parents have raised complaints to school, stating that their children now refuse to hug them without consent. And teachers have noted that the consent classes have made some of the children a bit more rebellious. For example, a primary school reported that it was struggling to get the children to eat their vegetables because the children were refusing to consent to eating broccoli. Let's normalize kids being kids again. How about that? How about that? Because I just think about myself when I was that young and I was making cookies out of mud and water and eating them. And I was living my best life, I'll have you know. I was having a great time. That's probably why my immune system is so good right now. I ate so much mud. And I even remember there was a time I ate an apple and I swallowed an apple seed. And I started freaking out because I thought an apple tree was going to grow in my belly. These are the kids that we're asking to make big decisions.
I would like to know what you want to be when you grow up.
A lady. Okay, a puppy.
These are the kids that we're asking to understand how consent works. Do you see what I mean? Let kids be kids. Kids don't need to know about consent. Kids don't need to know about all of these mature like topics that people seem to be trying to push upon them these days. Kids should only be playing, learning their ABCs, learning how to count, learning, you know, the wheels on the bus go round and round. You know, that's what kids should be doing. They don't need to be doing all this stuff. We're forcing kids to grow up way too fast. I think better time would be spent educating teachers, educating parents and other guardians on how to spot signs that something might be happening to their child, you know, what kind of signs to look out for so that they can react a lot faster. The emphasis should be put on the parents or the guardians to make sure that they don't allow situations, not saying that anyone allows these things to happen to their kids, but there are certain precautions that you can take to prevent these things from happening to your children. I remember when I was younger, my mum was super protective. She would not let me sleep over around anyone's house. I was not allowed to really go into anyone's houses or anything like that. And if I was, she was with me. So, you know, there's certain things, certain safeguards you can put in place as a parent to prevent these kind of things from happening to your kids. Because a lot of the time when these things do happen, they are rarely done by strangers. They're usually done by people who the family knows. I don't think this kind of burden needs to be put on children. The idea of having a child, expect to know how to respond in that situation and expect them to understand consent and when to report or whatever, I don't know. Let kids be kids. How about that? Parents are responsible for making sure that their children can just be children. You know, the responsibility of keeping your child safe really is on you as a parent, and I don't think we should share that responsibility with children. Let them throw things in the toilet and, you know, eat dirt. Let them do that. That's the kid stuff that they should be doing. That's the experience they deserve to have. Maybe don't let them put stuff in the toilet though, because they could block it, but like other than that, let them just be kids. Let them be kids. But what do you guys think? What do you think is the best way to handle these kind of situations? Do you agree with the woman in the video? Do you agree with me? I'd love to hear your opinion, even if it is different, it's okay. If you've enjoyed this video, then do like and subscribe. I am also on Instagram and TikTok, so do follow me there if you want to see more of me. I also make music, so do check me out on Spotify. There will be a link to all my socials as well as my music within my description box, as well as a link to the original video. Thank you for giving me your time today. I will see you next Wednesday.